everyone. This is the Finance and Shared Services Committee meeting for the month of August. I have with me Board President, Mrs. Fabiano, Board members, Mr. Piro and Ms. Sharma. I have our business administrator, Ms. Allen, our Dr. Chanley, Dr. Lehman with me, sorry, and our Jamesburg representative, Ms. Dr. Peck. We're going to get started. We do not have two conflicts of interest. I like saying that sometimes. Our agenda is very simple tonight. We have 4 things on the agenda. We're going to start with the monthly review of the attorney fees. All board members have access to the monthly attorney fees. If they have any questions, please feel free to share your questions right now. And Ms. Allen, this would be the last monthly bill from Portsmouth. No?
No, they're still continuing.
Legal matters.
Some
Okay.
things.
So it'll trickle. It wouldn't,
Right.
we wouldn't get something every month. No. Okay.
As long as they did
Unless
something
they do
there.
something.
Yeah, so the amounts will be less,
Right.
but there'll still be things.
Right. And we have a full month's bill from Bush this
That's
month.
correct.
Yeah, yes, yes. The transition has been complete. Anybody any questions? If nothing, we can move on to the list. No questions? All right. The bill list, we have a total of, I have to say, 9.58 million as what we see right now. Okay. And I'm assuming there's going to be an addendum.
There will be
next
an
week?
addendum, early next week.
Early next week, yeah.
Yes.
Any questions on the bill list? All right, I do have a few comments that I can share publicly. This bill list, we did get the bill from the school board election for $74,000 that will be paid after our board meeting. This is part of the cost for the April 2024 election. This is a county bill, correct me if I'm wrong? Is it the county bill?
Correct. And we have a township bill as well that we've already paid for $8,100.
So 74,000 that we'll be paying on August 22nd and 8,000 that we've already paid. So the cost of our April 2024 election was $82,000. So we have the real numbers, so it's worth sharing with the public. Any other questions? And for the benefit of board members that will listen to the committee meeting, there was early bill approvals like every month. And this time we did have to approve between the board meetings, a lease payment, which typically would go to a board meeting for approval, but the bill was lost in the mail. And we did not, the board office had to try to get a hold of that bill last minute, and there was not enough time left to wait for the board meeting. So we did have a $751,000 lease bill payment that happened between board meetings that was approved by the board members. And just a quick reminder, we have been working hard as a board for the last 2 years to only approve necessary bills between board meetings, and everything goes through the board president and the finance committee chair. And we do try to do a due diligence, and the board office does everything in their power to, get most of the bills approved at the public board meeting. With that, would you like to take up the gov deals first and then go to all right, so the gov deals.
So, on Monday, we had, the Gov Deals auction closed for the sale of 6 buses. And I'm very happy to say that we did sell the 6 buses, for $301,600, which is, it's really great. We had a lot of interest on these buses. They ended up going to, another school district actually. But, I looked back to see how much we paid for these buses, and we paid $548,000, and we just got $301,000. So, overall, really the cost you could say was $246,000 spread out over 6 buses is $41,000 over 8 years, it's like $5,000. You got the $5,000.
Yeah, we have more of such things.
It's a positive, because we got use out of it and then we got the extra money.
We did, so, and it shows you how well our transportation department keeps the buses maintained so that they can sell at a higher price. So, yeah, I'm very happy. We did, receive notice that the funds have been provided to gov deals from the school district, so we will be receiving those monies shortly, exchange the title and everything, and,
So do we budget for this amount coming in?
so it's.
This is so good, even better.
Yeah.
So from the first time I heard of gov deals as a new board member, I thought this was about getting pennies for the dollars we paid. But honestly, this is definitely the cherry on the cake, but we do very well with any equipment or any, snow plowing equipment, buses, all kinds of, we've sold computers on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
This is great news. Thank you so much for sharing that. Right. And with that, we move on to the last item on the agenda, which has been something that has been in the works for a few months. We've worked on it as a board with Ms. Allen and Dr. Chanley. There's been a lot of questions from the community about what are we spending on legal fees, and we recently went through this whole change with the legal firm. So it was a good time to analyze how we've done as a district. And Ms. Allen was kind enough to pull up this analysis that all board members have access to. The public will have access to the redacted document after this meeting. As of now, the board members have the complete document, which has some confidential information, and so public would have to wait briefly before they get access to it. But this document is sharing 10 years, actually 11 years worth of a snapshot of our legal fees. Great information. Ms. Allen, if you would like to talk to it.
Yes, so yeah, like you say, it's 11 years and it shows what we paid every year for our general counsel, which is our board attorney. We've had different, we had an in-house attorney, and we've had 3 firms, including our new firm, Bush. So you can see the amounts paid each year. For that, every year we have bond counsel payments, for the lease purchase, as well as any bond referendum work that they do, or shared service agreement work. So you'll see that listed. We also pay for attorneys that are assigned by the insurance company. We pay a deductible, and you can see those amounts each year. And those are for like ethics cases or lawsuits that the insurance company handles. So if there are any questions on this one schedule, that shows the breakdown here of what makes up our attorney fees. There is another schedule that shows, and every month the board has received a breakdown of the bills from Porzio. And this is just basically over, on an annual basis, how that planned out. So you can see all the amounts that have been allocated. They have special defense, which are in their bills, which are, you'll see on another spreadsheet, what makes that up. The labor negotiations, some of the cases they've worked on for us. I can't really go into much detail, but you do see the breakout of what Porzio has worked on for us in addition to their regular normal monthly bill. And lastly, there is the legal fees per pupil. Over the years, this comes from the Taxpayers Guide to Educational Spending. And this ranks districts by grade levels and student enrollment. So it has all the school districts. we are in the K to 12 over 3,500 student ranking, enrollment ranking. So that's, as you'll see, the ranking, for example, for 21-22 shows $45 per pupil for legal costs. And that ranks as 64 out of 95. So there are 95 districts in that same category, K to 12 over 3,500 enrollment. We are number 64. That means there are 63 school districts that have lower legal fee per pupil.
And 32 that have higher than
That have
us.
higher than us. And interestingly, for 20, I'm using 21-22. They only give us 22 for 22-23. That's the most current year they give us on this website. And that's a budgeted amount. So I wouldn't
Use that, because that really lowball the.
yeah, it really does. And if you look at the actual numbers now, that we know where they're actually
Yes.
much higher than that. So that's why I'm looking at 21-22 to show that we have $45 per student per pupil for legal costs. And in that year, Princeton had $68 per pupil, and they were ranked to 85 out of 95 in our category. The highest ranking district was Lakewood with $244 per pupil, and Kearney was the lowest with $8 per pupil. So the statewide average for this year was $44 in this ranking per pupil, and the statewide average for all schools is $46. So we are in that.
Right there, she lockstep and barrel with the statewide average.
And they'll go lower in the Tahoe.
Oh, yes, the top one is not final, yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it's $48 one.
Yeah.
But a little background to this, that this metric, the legal fees per pupil, was something that I was asking Ms. Allen to keep, because this is something that is used for discussion between districts. I found it on an NJSBA article, and Laura was great, kind enough to pull it up for the last whole 10 years. And if you guys can notice, we've been consistent with those numbers. So we've not wavered. It's not like the last 2 years were higher and previous years were low. We've had an average of 45, if I can, say, and last year was 21-22. The last reported year is $45 per pupil. And our rank has also been pretty consistent in the 60, 61, 65, 64.
It's just, it's all there.
There's not much variation, even though we've had all kinds, our governance has changed, our lawyers have changed. And to the point about our lawyers, we've had in-house counsel. So we're analyzing data for 11 years.
Yeah.
Of the 11 years, we have had a legal firm for 5.5, and we've had an in-house counsel for 5.5, or maybe 6 and 5, sorry, 6 years for the in-house counsel and 5 years for for a legal firm. And the cost, the total yearly cost, if you can look at that, has, by the way, it's notable that 2023, 2024, I don't know if this is going to change anymore, Laura, but if you've closed, that has been the lowest year of legal costs in the past, almost a decade, because the last time, the legal cost for 2023, 2024 was $230,000 for the district. The last time it was that low was 2014, 2015, when it was $225,000. It's only been higher than that. And for various reasons, of course, we can discuss the different components. But it's just, I feel like this data is very grounding.
I agree. And it shows that comments and statements that are made about legal costs aren't accurate because the data doesn't lie. We're actually showing the data of what was spent and where we're at.
We've had 5 superintendents, 3 governments in this time. I have to say that that hasn't had a very significant impact on this number. Can we do better? Yes, we can do better.
Well, we're the lowest.
What can we do better? And Dr. Chanley, I would just look at, and when this does become public and for the rest of the board members to see, when we look at the analysis of the costs, and we look at what Ms. Allen just pointed out, the insurance deductibles, the breakup of that, it's between lawsuits and ethics. So lawsuits many a times are not in our control. We were just talking about it in our pre-meeting, as the board members will see in the unredacted version, that for one of the special defense counsel, we spent over $100,000 on a case. And that case might not have anything to do with anybody who is in the
Sitting
district.
here right now.
It's could be a really old case that is beyond any one of our controls, but it did cost us over $100,000 in a period of last 3-4 years, which insurance doesn't cover, which is going out of our operating budget. And it does add to our legal cost as a district, our per pupil cost as a district. And those are the things that we can control. But the things that we can control are the ethics cases. And while we're all for open government and Oprahs and, keeping people accountable, it's a reminder that this money is taken away from students. In the time that I've been a board member, which is 3 years now almost, I've not seen one ethic case that has changed something significantly. Yes, it's always a reminder for us to, do better, be careful. But for the money that we're paying, we're taking away from our students' programs. So if we could just think a little bit more before we act on them with such costly measures. So that's my personal opinion as a board member. Anybody else has any questions for Ms. Allen or Dr. Chanley on the data that you are seeing? We did have a very detailed discussion in the finance pre-meeting, so before we took 2 months to put this together, so get it out. Any questions at this point?
No.
As I was speaking to the ethics cases, I do want to share that for every case, we have a deductible.
Yes.
And then we have an insurance company that covers for a certain amount of dollars per year. So we have coverage for, please correct me if I'm wrong, $100,000 a year.
Yes.
Is it just for ethics or any lawsuit?
This is for the ethics cases, so because, yeah,
Ethics, right?
it's not for everything.
Okay, so if the insurance company goes over $100,000, then it goes out of our operating budget. So we pay $5,000 in deductible for the case, and then if it stays within $100,000 for the whole year, for all the cases, it's good. If it goes over.
No, so
Per case?
the year, so it's a $5,000 deductible, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes to the insurance company. If they spend more than $100,000, no matter how long it is, it depends on when the case is.
So the life of the case is what settles.
That's when they began. So in one school year, you look at that in say 2021, they began, they're gonna cover it until it reaches 100,000.
Whether it takes 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years.
And then it comes back to us to cover anything in excess in which is happening. Yeah.
Which is happening for a few ethics cases that were started in 2021. We are over $100,000 mark, so whatever, till the case comes to a conclusion, whatever cost comes in now will go out of our operating budget. But that's that. This was great. Thank you very much. I knew this took a lot of effort on part of the business office, but we appreciate it. A lot of taxpayers have asked us this question as to why we have a legal firm and why not an in-house counsel. Just seeing the different buckets of the legal cost and how much in-house counsel and our legal firm are responsible, and what other, the bond counsel, the insurance lawyers, all of it. It's a great piece of data that will help us in future years. Now we have a benchmark. We have a new legal firm, and we can continue to measure up to our previous year's benchmark. Do better, like I said, we continue to strive to do better. Any questions? Otherwise, we're at the end of our finance meeting. That was a quick meeting.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone. That brings us to the end of the finance committee for the month of August. Thank you.